Hello, and welcome to Behind the Nightmares, where you can get the stories behind the stories of your favorite episodes of the Nightmare Realm. I'm your hostess, Kat Fischer. Thank you for joining us. Tonight, we will be discussing the Nightmare Realm episode, Whispers in the Dark. Joining us is the creator of the Nightmare Realm, Rob Ferreri. Thanks for being here and talking about this unusual episode, Rob.
It's a pleasure to be here. This episode in particular was very personal to me. There's a lot of me in the main character, which we'll get into as we go, but I'm really looking forward to talking about this one.
Where did the idea for Whispers in the Dark come from?
I really enjoy hiking and camping, being outdoors. I find it very relaxing to go hike through the woods, and it's very calming. I also, on YouTube, tend to go down, since obviously I'm a horror fan, a lot of rabbit holes when it comes to like found footage things and like trail cameras and security footage things that are either like paranormal or just like encounters with odd or unusual, unhinged sometimes people, and had recently gone down a little rabbit hole with some of those videos, and that's kind of where the idea for this came from.
Have you ever had a strange experience in the woods?
Oh yeah, definitely. I tend to prefer to go for walks at night, and the woods at night are definitely much creepier than the woods during the day. Without the sun to brightly light everything and all the shadows, it's definitely creepier. There's lots of times where you'll think you'll see shadows, or you get the eye shine of animals at night, and it's usually a dog or a cat, but well, you never really know. Also, sometimes you'll hear what you think are voices, and yeah, it can get a little creepy. You could be camping, it'll sound like you hear footsteps like around the campsite, and you go to look and either you don't see anything or it's like a deer or something, but that's not always the case. Like I said, I've gone down a lot of YouTube rabbit holes, and there's some, yeah, check it out.
So you have heard the Whispers in the Dark yourself then?
Yeah, I guess you could say I have. In fact, there was one night back in New Jersey, about maybe 15, maybe a little more years ago. I was going for a walk. The apartment complex that I lived in had a few others that were nearby, and there was a patch of woods that kind of connected them all. And I was going for one of my normal nightly walks, and it kept feeling like you were being watched. Like you just had a very creepy kind of feeling. And as I was walking, and it was pretty dark, and you don't normally run into other people that late, but occasionally you'll see somebody. That night, however, I didn't see anybody else, but it sounded like somebody was talking, like off to the side, and you couldn't see anybody, and the path itself was very open, so you could see, but the woods were kind of on the side. And I was just kind of creeped out. So instead of kind of continuing through the path to kind of circle back around to where I'd go kind of back around to my complex, I kind of went off into the nearest one, got out of the area entirely, and walked on the street back to my complex. It was, kind of an unsettling experience. Matter of fact, it was a couple of days before I took another walk. But, yeah, it was kind of an interesting night.
This is the last of the episodes that originally had a video aspect to them. Why did that change to an audio-only format going forward?
The way that came about was the first few people that were testing out episodes, and even once we launched, initially there were video to the episodes for the first few. But a lot of the people that were watching or listening said that the way they enjoyed it most was just kind of to kind of close their eyes and just envision the story. And to me, I thought that made it much more of an interactive experience. The audience is actively part of the story, because all of the visuals at that point are their idealized versions. Everybody is going to see their own version of how this looks. It's all unified by the audio and the story, but everybody's experience is going to be unique. And I really liked the interactivity of that, and the fact that everybody really does kind of get to picture it their own way. And to me, that made it much more interesting, so we decided to get rid of the video aspect and stay with the audio only and really play into that immersive aspect.
Did writing this story make you think twice about going into the woods alone at night?
No. Going into the woods alone at night made me think twice about going into the woods alone at night.
The main character had just gone through a major breakup. Did that have anything to do with why the creature targeted him?
Oh, 100%. The creature was able to sense his mental state and figured he would be a much more susceptible victim. It preyed upon him just because it thought he'd be easier prey. That's why it used her voice and her image, because it really believed it could manipulate him into coming out and giving in.
You mentioned earlier there's a lot of you in the main character. Would you care to elaborate on that?
Yeah, sure. There's actually a few similarities between me and the main character. The first being that we're both chefs. I do have my culinary degree and have worked in the culinary field for quite a long time. In fact, I've worked with some incredible chefs like Wolfgang Puck. We are also both people that went through a major breakup. I went through a divorce right around the same time I wrote the story. Also, the setting of Long Beach Island, New Jersey is an actual place, unlike some of the settings in the Nightmare Realm, like Palace Flats or Falcraft City. This is a real place, and a place I actually lived and did work in a restaurant, and the story was a little bit of therapy for me in a way.
At what point would you have noped out?
Oh, as soon as it tried to look or sound like my ex-wife. I would be much more terrified of her trying to get back into my life than any monster that I could possibly run into.
Thank you, Rob, for being here and talking about this eerie tale.
And again, thanks for having me. This episode, again, is very personal to me, so to get a chance to talk about it and to share how personal it is means a lot to me.
And thank you, listeners, for joining us on our foray behind the nightmares. Join us next week when we discuss terror in the Evergreen. Don't forget to go to thenightmarerealm.net and see everything the Nightmare Realm has to offer. Good night.
Whispers in the shadows deep, no souls dare to sleep. In the land where dreams do bleed, nightmares they do creep. Eyes that watch from darkest skies, shadows overheads. Every step a silent scream, walking with the dead. Of terror whispers cold, chilling to the bone. Voices from the past unfold, secrets carved in stone. Lurking in the midnight hour, phantoms start to rise. In the grip of darkest power, tears behind the eyes. Come behind the nightmares, see what lies beneath. Every tale of sorrow hides a restless wraith. Stories of the horror, masked behind the veil. In the realm of shadow, terrors in detail. Mirrors show a twisted face, echoes from the grave. In the silence, find a place where the spirits rave. Specters whisper in the ear, secrets they confide. In the land of endless fear, shadows never hide. Candle Nightmare's wraith. Stories of the horror, masked behind the veil. In the realm of shadow, terrors in detail.